Midnight Moments puts a magnifying glass on small grids of a cyberpunk-style city, in which you can create whatever your imagination desires at whatever pace suits yourself. Bring the bright lights to a busy nightlife district, street lamps to a dark alleyway, or traffic to a busy housing block. The choice is truly yours. The gameplay is simple to learn, and the real standout here is that there's no time limit to put pressure on you. To start you off, it gives you a simple pre-built diorama as an example, and you have the choice to continue with this and edit it, or start from scratch. I found it very handy to use for my first build, and to get used to the controls. Then, I was able to start from the ground up on my next attempt, completely solo. It is always nice to have choices in games, so this simple addition is much appreciated and useful in my opinion. Customization options here are great, as you can change the colours of items and the colours of lights. You can change the intensity of overhead light, how much rain appears on your diorama, colour of light overhead, where the sun is positioned, which changes where shadows form, and how high or low the sun is. For builds that I made, we have my first solo build, which is a community hub area. We have apartment blocks, a little park area in the middle, and a bar restaurant as the back centrepiece. I wanted it to feel equally compact, but also open enough that it would be livable in. My second build is called How the Other Half Live. I created a narrow alleyway, and on each side of the alley is a different living situation. On the left is a more rundown and poorer block, whereas the right is a premium high-end block. I felt this is something we see quite often in our real world, where there can literally be a small road dividing class. And I wanted to incorporate that into this world, as cyberpunk aesthetics can be both beautiful, but also really devastating too. Let me know what kind of builds you have made or are planning to make when you pick the game up, as I'm always eager to hear ideas. Midnight Moments is fine to play as it comes when you purchase the game, but I found that the experience was elevated when I accompanied the game with a lo-fi music playlist. The two go hand in hand to provide a really cozy experience to enjoy in play sessions that can last for short or long bursts. Not having a time limit looming over your head is a wonderful feeling, as it means you can come and go as you please without fear of losing progress on your builds. It's easy to understand how to play, and there not being a right or wrong way to play is just such a nice feeling. It also, quite simply put, is visually a delight. The aesthetic here perfectly matches the cyberpunk feel the devs have aimed for. I can really appreciate that there's no tasks to fulfill or a time limit to add pressure to the player, but I do feel for longevity and replayability, having a game mode that gives you tasks would be worthwhile. Example being to make a build with certain items in it, and if achieved, the player unlocks something new they can put into their builds in both this tasked mode and sandbox mode. Making this optional means that those who desire something new can have that chance, and those who just want to remain in the sandbox free roam style can also do that. And regarding the items that you can use, while I found them to be fitting for the game, I do feel after a handful of builds it can feel like you don't have enough to work with to make your vision become reality. That is, without it feeling similar to something you've made before. Initially it seems like you have bundles of choice, but as you get down to decorating certain corners of your diorama and trying to make something unique, it can feel like something's missing. And of course, with the sandbox freedom of this game, I'm sure there are many gamers that are talented enough to make anything they think of come to life. But for newer gamers to this kind of gameplay, they might feel a little bit left behind and overwhelmed. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having more choice. I think if anything, more is never a bad thing in terms of these kind of games. Overall, Midnight Moments delivers on what it says it can and will let players do. It thrives due to being simple to understand, easy on the eyes, and allowing players to create whatever their heart desires without time-sensitive objectives looming overhead. It is a game I can recommend to those who like to be creative, as it really is a pleasant experience. But I do believe it should have much more options available as far as items to place in its world goes. But that could purely be personal preference on my part. In truth, I think the best way to describe Midnight Moments is that your imagination makes or breaks the game for repeat attempts. But the fun aspects are that I can definitely see there being a big creative community for this game who will help each other thrive and continue to search for new things to build. Midnight Moment's pros far outweigh its cons, and will provide you with as much gameplay as your imagination can handle. So my review score for this game is an 8 out of 10. I hope you enjoyed this video review. Big thanks to Happy Volcano for providing me with a review key. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and let me know in the comments below what kind of Cyberpunk builds you'd plan to make in this game. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.